Alright, so timing starts as soon as we start the game here, and we're going to start off by going to the top area here with all of the apples, in which we're going to try to maneuver past them as quickly as possible, and yes, the apples do kill you. We're going to jump past all these clouds, and we're eventually going to climb up, and we're going to fight a boss. So basically the goal here is you want to go as fast as possible through all these sections. You're going to be doing some save resetting that is going to save a lot of time, and you're going to see that throughout a lot of different parts of the run, such as right here. So you'll reset there to get the platform cycle to line up really nicely. And that's the biggest benefit to be running this game on the medium difficulty, which not only is it easier because you have more saves, but you will essentially use the saves not to make it safer, but you're going to use the saves to make it faster too, which is really nice. And it makes the run a lot more enjoyable, in my opinion, because there's not like any worry of losing a huge amount of time when you die. Usually it's not more than 30 seconds to a minute at most. All right, so this is Mike Tyson in this game. He is the first boss and definitely the easiest boss. And there's really not a whole lot to say about him. You're just going to be dodging his jumps here. There is some like alignment that you do here. You kind of like line yourself up against the wall, and then when you move to the right there, it manipulates him to move to the left. So I don't know if you guys noticed that, but that was just a quick little manip that all the top runners do to, keep the Mike Tyson fight very quick. Okay. All right, and then so now that we've beaten him, we're gonna get the orb, and we're gonna move down to the section down here with the some surprises. There's a lot of traps in this area. So you pretty much have to know exactly what you're doing to maneuver through. And you're going to see right about here, everybody's favorite obstacle. Yeah, a moon that just flies out of the sky, destroys a bunch of stuff. It's the only way to progress here, actually, because it's going to destroy the right wall here. And you just have to know what to do. That's one of the things this game was really famous for back in the day, was like stuff that you just could not dodge without first knowing how to clear it. So there's a lot of trial and error happening here, but that's just the name of the game pretty much here. So anyways, this is an infamous I want to be the guy screen, but we're going to make it look pretty easy here. No problem. And then the hawks. In this version, the hawks are especially annoying, so I do take my time with them a little bit more than other runners, because I don't want to lose the run there to anything. And I didn't make that platform cycle because I took my time with the hawks, but that's okay. It only loses a couple seconds because there's that save right there. All right, and now we're going to do the save jumping that I was talking about earlier. And we're going to be save jumping through that section and the section up ahead here, completely skipping pretty much everything you were supposed to do. All right. And now we're going on to the next boss, the second boss in the game, Mecha Birdo, obviously. Has some of my favorite music in the game. And it's a pretty quick fight because you can get a nice quick kill on him right here as long as you mash really fast and start hitting his hitbox as soon as you can right here. So you'll see how quick we're going to kill him right here. It's going to be very fast. Boom, and that's it. That's the whole Birdo fight. We killed all three phases right there in about 20 seconds. All right, we're not going to save here because I'm going for a good time, but in the actual run, of course, I would be saving there. Because I don't want to have to reset before Birdo and have to fight him again, essentially. All right, and we're going to use that save to do a little save jump again, so just more of that happening. Okay. And then this is a pretty simple part right here where we're just going to be climbing up. Not a whole lot happening here. We're going to be doing as fast as possible. You're supposed to take your time with these spikes because they are dangerous, but I've done this so many times now, I don't even really think about this section. You just go through it. Because we are heading up to Castlevania area and Dracula's hideout. Boom. All right, so now there's this really cool skip that I do here. Not really a skip, it's more of a cycle skip where you get the first platform cycle there. You're not really supposed to be able to do that. But if you do it really fast on the screen before, you can hit that platform cycle. And it is quite a bit faster than if you don't hit it. It's about 8 to 9 seconds faster, I think. All right, and now we're already in the Dracula fight. We're not even 5 minutes into the game. We're on our third boss. And this fight is pretty much the biggest RNG point in the entire run. Dracula's attacks are completely RNG, The only thing that isn't RNG about them is he can't repeat the same. Oh no, that's not even true. Yeah, I mean it's just completely RNG. There's some really annoying attacks that you don't want to get, and I got 2 of them right there, the fast moving apples. But I think there's like 8 attacks total, and you're definitely looking for like the moon one, which you saw. But anyways, Dracula dies very fast, and we're gonna be moving on here. So this is a little save like glitch. Normally you would have to wait for that platform to move all the way back, but if you save right when you hit the ground, which we did, you can skip that platform waiting. Ooh, and right there I actually missed a very tight jump that only saves like 4 or 5 seconds because you have to wait for those spikes will eventually go away. But it's definitely worth going for in my opinion because you have to do it 2 times throughout the run because you will be returning to this point. So you know, it happens sometimes. Sometimes you miss some not super difficult jumps in all honesty. All right, and now we're heading into a pretty simple section right here. There's not going to be a whole lot to talk about, so this would be probably a good time for donations.
That was a massive time loss. That sucks. Oh boy, I almost killed myself. Let's not do that. Let's try to make this.
You know, and I would let donations play during this section, but essentially, it's just Tetris. So you just have to like know where to go and know when to jump. All right, and after they do about 1 donation here, the plan would be to stop them right here, and I would say, okay, now we're gonna jump on this Tetris block because it skips just a little bit. It's a small Tetris skip, not the big Tetris skip, which saves a lot more time but is much more risky. And then we move into this really cool section right here where you have a what I like to call the sentient spike wall. The spike wall that chases you and shoots apples at you every time it touches apples. It's actually a really cool section on your first playthrough, but it's very easy to traverse once you get used to the game and you've played it many times. So you really shouldn't be dying here ever at like a top level. But it's a really cool section of the game and one of my favorites from my casual playthrough. I'll never forget this when I was much younger and I first played I Want to Be the Guy and got to this part.
Okay, so we lost 16.
All right, cool. So we survived all of that. Now we're gonna do another save reset here to get rid of that spike wall. And then we're just gonna basically play the game the way it was intended to be played. And we're gonna be getting all the way up here. We're gonna jump down. We're saving our double jump there so that way we can get to these vines very easily. And of course I would save in a run right there. So we can skip the boss cutscenes in the remaster, which is a really cool little thing there, which allows us to start the fight almost immediately. And we actually can skip the second phase, and it kind of messes the game up a bit. This is actually an intended skip by the developers that did the remaster, and apparently it pays homage to something from Super Metroid, which I would look up for the run, of course, because I don't know what that is offhand, but essentially it's an homage to something. I've talked to the developers about it because I made a video that they all watched, which was actually really cool. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Now we are moving on to the Mega Man section, which has my favorite music in the game. You know, probably just barely ahead of the Mecha Birdo song, which is really good. And we're gonna be just kind of getting through this real fast. We did another save jump there. You know, I said they're gonna do a lot of those. But most of this is just pretty standard gameplay here, and we'll probably have time for a donation going into the boss fight because the boss is Bowser, Wart, and Dr. Wily, but it is a very slow and not very eventful boss fight for speedrunning. So I'm going to give it over to donations for this part.
There you go. That's how you know I'm a great runner. It was all part of the plan. Admittedly, not even a bad run. I shouldn't be so picky. You know, I think that's the reason I was having such bad runs earlier. They weren't actually bad. I was just super picky. And yeah, I made some mistakes.
Pretty much after this point, there won't be too many opportunities for donations because there will be a lot of fast gameplay. So the goal here is to just, you know, try to find points for donations. It's a very short game to begin with. So there won't be a whole lot of opportunity for donations, but there will be slow sections like this. So this is kind of a nice spot for that. Just like a handful of spots throughout the entire game. There's actually one more spot for donations that I can think of off the top of my head that we will be doing later, because it's purely just a memorization section that takes about a minute, so that'll be good too. But after that point, it is pure gameplay and just like pretty hardcore stuff, so it gets pretty exciting near the end. Alright, and we're going to one cycle Wily here, and we're going to jump over that bowling ball. Never want to miss that trick, because that is a massive time loss, but
Should be saving about a second.
you know, it could happen. But anyways, now we're going to be moving on to the next section, which is the Guy Industries Tower section. There's some pretty cool, like, fast tricks here that we're going to be pulling off. It looks really flashy because we're going to be jumping between a bunch of bullets and spikes without, like, really stopping. Do another save jump here, and then we're going to very fast move through this section to dodge those bullets.
A little bit sloppy, but not terrible. Lost
And
like
then
a
we're just
second.
not even going to stop for this
and a half,
section.
maybe.
Those turrets that are moving down right now, we're just going to outrun them. We don't need to wait for them. They're a bit too slow. And all right, this is the worst room in the game. It is super slow. And for anybody that's played this game, they know this is the most boring part of the game, but also one of the most stressful, because if you die, you have to watch this all happen again, right? Well, there is some pretty cool new skips that have been found in the new version of this game, which allows you to skip everything. And just like that, we can do what looks like a triple jump there. You're actually kind of using some of the mechanics built into the game to do a third jump, per se, which when you're halfway in between a semi-solid platform, you are able to jump even if you've used your other two jumps already, which is the only reason that trick works at all. And it looks really cool, and it looks kind of like you're cheating, but it's actually a built-in mechanic to the game. And we actually did it earlier, right before to get up to that room. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but anyways, this is Ryu jump. I didn't even preface it, but it's a pretty easy jump, honestly. I know it's like kind of flashy looking, but you essentially skip having to go back and turn the fan on to get rid of Ryu. Saves about like 10 to 15 seconds, something like that. But anyways, we're going through this section again, and yeah, that time we hit it, which is always nice. But like I said, it's not a huge time loss. It's probably like 10 to 15 seconds to die there. And we're back in the Mega Man section because we need to revisit the an area that we overlooked originally, which has another boss fight hidden behind it. And that area, after doing this pretty cool little dodging, is the Metroid area. It's actually one of my favorite like designed areas. It just looks really cool. And but it has one of the most annoying boss fights for some people, because if you're not good at mashing, this fight is a real nuisance and can really screw up your runs. So one of my good friends here, he has struggled greatly with this fight because his mash is not quite up to snuff, at least with keyboard. But I'm gonna make mincemeat of the Metroid station here. We're gonna be moving right on because we got a good mash going.
Only lost like maybe a
And
second.
yeah, I got that fight pretty, consistent nowadays, but it used to be, it can be pretty difficult for sure. All right, and now this is the escape section, which, it's only annoying because like it's got those semi-solid platforms again, so you can kind of snap into them. Like, if you're halfway in it, you can sometimes get a full jump, and sometimes you get like these little half jumps. It definitely messes with your movement a bit and screws with your head if you make any mistakes. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire Metroid section. We're not there for very long. The reason I didn't save there is because every time you get an orb, it saves automatically for you. So there's actually no reason to save there. That is something that is exclusively in the remaster version, I believe. That's a 16 pixel gap right there, which I believe the guy is only 10 pixels, or maybe he's 8 pixels, which means that there's not a whole lot of room for error in that part. So it looks like it looks harder than it actually is, because it's really not that hard to line up, but it is scary. Sometimes you do move too soon and you accidentally walk into a spike there. All right, and we're gonna do a little reset for the platform there to kind of get up here faster. There is a slightly faster strategy that I did not go for because I'm not that cool apparently. But yeah, this is a memorization section that is just very slow with like very slow blocks that you just have to know where they are. But yeah, this is the last opportunity for some good donations, and yeah, take it away.
Across. Upright. Across. Across. Up. Up. Down. Across.
And I apologize if I'm whispering the directions that they're moving. I don't want to forget where they go, and that's one of my ways of like reminding myself when to jump and where they are.
Upright. Up left. Upright. Across. Down. Back left. 1, 2, 3. Across. Go. Keep on going.
All right, cool. And now we are going to move on to this section. There is a slightly faster strategy once again that I will not
Okay. Super slow.
be doing in this part because I was too nervous in this PB run. But then we are going to be skipping some of those by getting a nice jump there. And we're going to be moving on to the moon theme section, which has some of my favorite music once again. This is another great song from this game. And we're going to be utilizing all of the saves in medium difficulty once again here to kind of save and reset, which every time you save and reset here, it moves the platform to wherever you saved. So you can kind of like move it slightly forward a little bit faster. This is actually one of the most scary, or one of the most terrifying sections in the game because of the cheap cheeps. I know it looks really dumb, but as you saw right there, you can get totally destroyed by these cheap cheeps. This is the other, like, one of the other main areas of RNG in the run. And I would say 95% of runs, you don't have to worry about these cheap cheeps at all. But there's that 5% of runs that you get destroyed by cheap cheeps, and it's just so sad. So you never really know with them. But, you know, and this, of course, in my PB, I died to the cheap cheeps. Loses about 15 seconds, I would say, which is really unfortunate, because this run could have been, like, I don't know, pretty close to second place, to say the least, if I don't die to those. But no worries there. It's, you know, it wasn't meant to be. It really wasn't. I don't think it was possible to get second place at this point anyways, even if I didn't die to them.
I lost a lot to that.
But yeah, now we are moving on to the Devil Dragon boss from Mega Man, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty fun fight.
Like 15.
Mostly because of the fast strategies that have been developed to skip one of the cycles. And if you're really good at mashing, which I am not quite this good, you can actually skip 2 cycles, which I don't think anybody's ever done in a normal any percent run. It's only really ever been done in auto fire, which is a different category where you just hold down the trigger button. But anyways, this is how you do Fast Dragon. So you actually let him go all the way up and you don't make him go to the second phase there. And then you try to get max damage right in this part. And the goal essentially is you're gonna get him really close to going to the second phase, and then you let him go down and up one more time to max out damage, and you're gonna basically skip this entire second phase because of that, which is faster. And then you will be skipping some of the third phase too, because the damage, you're gonna be doing so much damage it actually carries over into the third phase. You're not actually skipping much of the third phase, but you can one cycle the third phase, which I'll show you right here. So he's going to go back down, he's going to shoot a fireball at the bottom, and then you're just going to finish him as he hits the top here.
Okay, thank God.
And that's the one cycle on the dragon. And then you just got to not die, which is pretty easy if you know the pattern, but I have, on very quick paces, messed that up because I just was like so excited by my pace that I just forgot what to do. It happens to the best of us. But yeah, then there's this last section in the dragon fight here where you have to jump all the way across back again. It's actually really easy because it's just the same jump like 10 times. But the whole point is that you're supposed to be like nervous for this part, so you might accidentally mess it up and, you know, fall down. But, you know, we're too good for that. So, anyways, now we're heading into the best split with all the coolest stuff in it. All the greatest skips. And yeah, I'm really proud of my castles. I've gotten so good at this area. It is definitely the hardest like platforming section in the game. And it's just very, very fun. So hopefully I can clutch this out. I'm going to be mostly quiet and let my co-commentator that would be here talk, but you know, because I'm just commentating my run here in the PB, I'm gonna commentate and kind of fill in what he would probably talk about. And yeah, we're doing a save jump here, which allows you to skip that entire area. You're not really supposed to be able to do that because there's a lot of spots there where you can't save, but we jump over those anyways and we save it anyways. So yep, this is the labyrinth of the guy. We're not going to be here very long, but it's supposed to be a big maze that you just like go down all the wrong paths and eventually you find the right one. But we already know the right path, so we don't really need to worry about that too much. And we're already out. That was the labyrinth. We're going to do this really cool little skip right here where you save jump up there and you get that platform cycle. You saw that instead of waiting for the platform. And then you just go through this room really, really fast. And it's just, it saves only about 6 seconds, but it looks really cool. Very, and it is actually a lot harder than it looks. That was a hard one for me to learn. It took me quite a while. At first I thought it was so hard that I never would learn it. But eventually I just sat down and spent the time on that trick. It's totally worth it because it looks so cool. That was the breakout room. I kind of didn't talk for it, but it has a really cool strat that is consistent. That is a consistent strategy to always get out of the breakout room 100% of the time, as long as you are standing in the right spots when the ball hits your platform. So that's all you need to know about that. And then we are moving on very quickly here because we are just nailing everything because we're the best. But yeah, these are just pretty basic platforming sections, but they are hard. They're a bit harder than pretty much the rest of the game. We are going to do a save jump that skips the game crash sequence here with Ryu.
But, oh well.
Normally he would say like, oh, your game crashed, but it's like Windows 95 crash, so it wouldn't really work on people today. But back in the day when that happened, I legitimately thought my game crashed, and I was just like, what? And then the game crash thing falls on you and kills your character, which is always a good joke, you know. But all right, we just passed through the incinerator of the guy. We are already moving on to the final tower. This is one of the most infamous sections as well, just for its like difficulty. And it comes right at the end of the game, which is just great. It's honestly like a great ending to just a great game. And it has some really cool like sections you have to move through very quickly to stay with the platform. If you go slow at all at the beginning there, you won't make that cycle. But after that, it's pretty much just, don't choke, because it's not that hard. It's just hard enough where you could choke it, and I have many times. But yeah, that was it. You get all the way up here, and we were gonna move on to the final fight here. And of course, I would save here, but PB, gotta save those frames. And in a real run, I would definitely save at the top there. But yeah, we're gonna be sweating like crazy here, because it is a nerve-wracking fight. This is definitely the most difficult boss fight in the game, and it's not even really close. So I'm definitely doing it a bit slow right now because I am getting very nervous, which is bound to happen if I was doing this run live in front of a lot of people. But this run was done live in front of 10 people. So I guess I was nervous, but I was mostly nervous because this was the first run that could beat the 25-minute barrier. But anyways, after you beat the guy, you think the game's over, you get that gun, and no, of course it's not over. There's gonna be 3 more phases of fighting here. There's this one, this part's kind of funny. I didn't know about this as a kid, but you can outrun his laser eyes just by not running at all, just standing perfectly still. For some reason, he doesn't shoot in that corner or in the other corner. You can actually hide in either corner, but the left corner is slightly better, and we take advantage of that to make it a little bit easier. And then the goal here is to just hit as many shots in the eyes per jump as possible, for speed's sake. He's going to be shooting all kinds of projectiles at us at this point, and it's very nerve-wracking. It's very easy to die here and lose a buttload of time. That is for sure. It does happen. But we are clutch. We almost... Yes, dude! Yes! And yeah, after that, you become the guy. Pretty much exactly what you would expect. You know, there's not a whole lot of great story happening here, but it is a very exciting, difficult, grueling type of game with all kinds of tricks that save a ton of time. And honestly, this run doesn't look anything like it did, you know, about 8 years ago. It really has evolved so much over time. Hope you guys enjoyed the submission. Thanks.